Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of the Purple Hyacinth podcast, and it is called Exposing Envelope. And today we have Myrna and Leslie, who have just waved their hands for those of you who are on audio only.
Those of you on audio.
Okay, and Leslie will start us off, so take it go.
Hi everyone, I'm Leslie. I've been on the podcast a couple of times for both Purple Hyacinth and Midnight Poppyland. I'm lurking in the Patreon comments a fair bit, and yeah, musician and artist by trade and comic fan in my free time.
And now you are posting more artwork of your own, which is really awesome.
Thank you. Not a whole lot of gigs, so I got to keep myself occupied somehow.
I'm Myrna. I go by Mem online. I am mostly a web content creator, like for websites, but I'm also an addict of the most expensive things, mostly K-pop, anime, and comics. And K-drama. So I have all the addictions. But,
and you have a YouTube channel. Sorry,
I do. I have a K-pop YouTube channel. I'm Ghost K-pop. So hopefully y'all check me out. I actually brought my K-pop water bottle in today.
I love it.
Yeah, I've got this awesome picture, this awesome sticker of Key from Shiny, like really feeling himself in there. It's great. So you'll see that throughout the episode, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to check it out. This is great. Everybody's talented.
Yeah, I really do. I find that so much, and it's very amazing.
I'm not that great at video editing yet. I am still learning, but I'm getting better.
What's the phrase? Sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. So we love it. We love it. Here you are, like learning and expressing yourself and not getting like paralyzed because it's not perfect. It's fabulous. Yeah. I love it.
Actually, my earlier videos, which I did the worst on, somehow are doing the best. So, whatever.
Beginner's mind.
There you go.
All right, Leslie, we're splitting the summary. So, Leslie, you can go ahead.
All right. Well, we start off at the police department bright and early at the crack of dawn at 9 o'clock. And Lauren is already at her desk, knee deep in paperwork, as we can see. She's on her way, I think, to a series record up to this point for the number of bags under her eyes. And then Kim walks in carrying an even bigger pile of paperwork, which is really impressive considering how high the stack is on Lauren's desk already. And we have this fabulous cinematic moment of Kim walking by, clearly taking a peek, a pause. Kim backs up into the frame. The pacing of this is just wonderful, and I totally love it. She sneaks a peek at what Lauren is doing at her desk. Lauren clearly has no idea that she's there. And Kim sneaks down and basically says good morning. And I don't think Lauren needs coffee after that point because she jumps about a mile out of her seat. And of course, then we have the sort of noseless, like chibi face Lauren and Kim because Kim is being a troll. Lauren's papers just go flying everywhere. She's clearly had a small heart attack, slams her enormous stack of papers down, and then says, Kim, can you please stop creeping on me? I'm going to accidentally stab you if you keep doing this. I don't think this is the first time this interaction has happened in the morning between the two of them.
Yeah.
Not at all.
The thing that's ironic is that, Lauren as a detective, well, as a former detective, is supposed to be extremely alert. And she, due to her late nights, due to her pursuing the Phantom site through her late nights, is completely unalert, which is dangerous for her work with the Phantom site. But whatever. Sacrifices.
Lauren will get 2.5 hours of sleep cumulative by the time the series is completed. And that's if she takes a nap.
I think that might be aiming a little high.
Just trying to give Sophison the benefit of the doubt here. Yeah. I in these panels, I just love how innocent and cute Kim is because she knows she can get away with murder. Her kind of chaos is my favorite kind of characterization. And then, of course, she makes the running joke about like Lauren having unusual eyes. With, my dear Lauren, your pretty golden eyes look pensive today, which of course, you know, sets Lauren off because every dude she's ever met describes her eyes as pensive, and she is over it. She is clearly over it when Kim brings it up because she tells her to stop. But then Kim, being the incredibly razor sharp perceptive wit that she is, says, "What did you do last night instead of sleeping?" I love that she can tell. She must just have like a baseline understanding of like 2 bags under Lauren's eyes means she got a good night's rest. Like 3 to 4 is she was staying up angsty over, you know, something that she screwed up at some point in her life and she's beating herself up about it. And then like 4 plus is extenuating circumstances. Let's go ask her what it is. That's my like headcanon.
Yeah. I totally agree with your characterization that she's beating herself up over something that happened. I mean, aside for what we know her feelings about ATSD, you're probably right that she does that over other things.
Yeah. Lauren isn't one who lets herself off the hook very readily, you know?
Yeah.
I find it funny that Lauren is surprised that Kim noticed this. You know, but to me, it seems like one of those characterizations where there are 2 people who know one another inside out, backwards and forwards, and yet still can surprise one another.
I think this relates to how Lauren refers to herself as the blindest of them all. I think in many ways, I think you said this, someone has said this, maybe Fu, where the fact that she has the ability to detect lies in some ways blinds her because she's so certain and she kind of relies on that as a prop.
Yes, the last one I was on, we talked about that, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that Lauren sometimes maybe underestimates others because of her self-reliance. You know, she takes it all on herself and she forgets that other people can also be helpful and be talented and be intelligent because she is just focused on herself and what she can do. So I'm not surprised that she overlooks Kim's perceptive abilities.
Yeah.
I think if you would ask her, she would say, yeah, sure. But like, I think that she just barrels along on her path without kind of noticing what people around her are necessarily doing.
It doesn't like really click. It's the sort of thing that she would say like, oh yeah, of course. And then you're right. It just doesn't, but she doesn't make that default assumption when she's not asked about it. And then Kim, you know, with her like characteristic penchant for really excellent descriptors is, you look like someone propped a corpse up at your desk and slapped a wig on it. And then honestly, the best, the next 3 panels are like my favorite.
Probably my favorite couple panels like ever. They're hilarious.
I love it. Roasted Italian pizza on the gravestone. A $10,000 wig. And which I mean, yeah, everybody's obsessed with Lauren's hair. If it's going to be a wig, it's going to be a $10,000 wig. And just extremely detailed rendering on the corpse.
Oh man.
It looks like Gollum a little bit.
Love it. The Gollum corpse with a $10,000 wig and Lauren's eyes plus even more bags. It is.
Yes, agreed.
Who's Vic Cooper on the grave?
I don't actually know.
Is it like a secret, like a clue that we have to be aware of?
That would be like
leader's name.
That would be told who the leader is. So to put the key to the entire series on the crack panel.
Yeah, it's the leader, like no doubt.
Well, now we know.
The leader who is apparently dead and now resurrected and sitting at Lauren's desk.
His death. He's faked his death.
We cracked it, guys.
I bet the leader is the king who died.
Roll credits.
Yeah.
Series done. We figured it out.
And no one had to die. Isn't that great? Well, not no one, but none of the people we love yet.
Yet is the operative word for this series. I can just feel it coming.
No. This is an long-standing argument. I will maintain everyone will survive, everyone will fall in love, and they will all end happily ever after.
I will hold myself to that delusion.
I watch too many K-dramas to know that that's going to happen.
I've been watching Attack on Titan, so like, yeah, I no longer have any optimism left from any of my characters surviving. It could be like a total fluff comic or something, and I'm just like, they're all gonna die, aren't they? Anyway, Lauren looks a little bit. Lauren clearly is having this image of someone digging up a corpse and putting it at her desk, playing out through her head, and is giving the, what is going on inside your head look to Kim for, like, how did you come up with that?
Her side eye is fantastic.
Oh, it's so good. And of course, then Kim just like doesn't miss a beat and says like, you always look like this, but what were you up to last night? Which is just, I love the roasting friendships. I love friends that roast one another, and everything is great. It makes me so happy. And Lauren just tries to brush it off as, oh, I just had a lot on my mind, because I always have a lot on my mind. I always look like a corpse with a wig on it. Therefore, this is nothing new. Like, don't worry, nothing has changed. She's lying. And she says, I swear. And then Will walks by, looking about the same.
I feel like in order to be more, I don't feel this is very convincing. I feel like she should at least have had like an alibi or something to worry about. Like, I don't know, Uncle Tristan engaged me in a long conversation about how I have to go to therapy for my long-standing obsession. Maybe something like that. But
that would have been a little bit more convincing. Yeah, when Lauren doesn't give an explanation, it's kind of a dead giveaway that she's up to no good.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I mean, she could have just like even said that she stayed up all night binging, reading something. Come on, Lauren. Better than that.
Yeah, Kim's not buying it, and we know it. Kim's way too smart.
Yes, and we'll see this later on in the comic where she immediately jumps on something, and yeah, she's been picking up the breadcrumbs along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's fabulous. And then Will comes in looking like someone dug up a corpse and put a wig on it. I don't know if it would be a more expensive wig than Lauren's or less expensive because it's like shorter hair, but he also is not having the best morning. And of course, Kim is completely insulted that, they were staying up late having adventures without her, because she said, what, you two? What happened to you, William? Did you both decide to astral project yourselves into hell without inviting me? Did I miss out on something? Like, Kim has FOMO for chaos.
Right, FOMO for hell? That's hilarious.
Which,
like,
Kim,
I want to be tired too.
You guys
I want to be tired and strung out. And Will gives exactly the same answer. I had a lot on my mind too, and Kim's just like, all right, y'all aren't telling me anything, and you're annoying, and you're having fun without me. And she wheels around, slurps her coffee, and it's just like, ugh, drama queens. And Lauren goes back to staring vacantly at the enormous pile of paperwork that she's probably put off for too long and now has to do.
Paperwork is a nightmare. I'm so happy that now we have computer work instead. Totally different.
Oh yeah, like Zoom fatigue. My eyeballs will never recover from this.
Probably not.
Yeah.
That's why I'm wearing my glasses today. They actually are my special ones for work that have blue light filters, which unfortunately they don't have back then. Whenever this time period is supposed to be.
Yeah, I think I'll take.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'll continue from here. So yeah, Lauren's doing, I don't even know if she's actually doing paperwork. She might just be scribbling. Well, I'm going to say Lauren White, but whatever. She probably is not scribbling that yet.
Probably not.
So now we have the mail cart coming along, and we see little Harvey at his desk. He's giving it, and the post person is giving it to Captain Hermann. Captain Hermann, this is for you, sir. And he hands him a bundle. Hermann leaves with it and closes the door. And you can just feel Lauren, we don't see her, but you just know she's on like tenterhooks. And it's like, okay, she's probably not writing anything at this point, just nervously waiting for his reaction. And indeed, a moment later, or however long later, he runs out, again, slams the door and says, wait, And Lauren, of course, is like eyeing him. He says, "Who gave you this envelope?" And we have these motion lines and where the background is cleared, so to show that it's a very emphatic moment. And he's like, "I don't know, Captain. It was just on my trolley this morning." By the way, he should be the first suspect, just saying. But anywho, and Hermann grimaces, runs up the steps, and goes to March, and hands him the file. And the March rifles through it, and his expression becomes just shocked. And we have this great view from underneath. So I love how they draw. I don't even know how they do it. I can't describe it.
That cinematic lighting is so great.
Yeah. I don't have the words yet to describe it. I just took out some books on like illustration and comic writing so that maybe I'll have a better vocabulary. But right now, all I can say is it's amazing. And now we have the time, and it's 9:30. And we have, the Booths walking in again, though that lends an impression of somberness and seriousness. And Hermann marches into the office with all his, people behind him and screams, "Whose work is this?" Oh my gosh, he's a little high strung.
Just a little bit small.
And everyone's like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
And Grumpy Cat is just over it already.
His face is somehow always in the shadows. It's like he has a cloud following him.
I love it.
His hair is not that big, that poofy to be causing that shadow, but we won't question it.
Personality obscures the sun.
Oh, yeah, he also looks like he gets no sleep. Probably thinking about how to murder his enemies. And, Lauren gives this, I'm curious look. I wonder why.
What you talking about there?
And Hermann yells, "I'm not in the mood for pranks. Who sent this? It has to be someone from the office. No one else has access to the archivist trolley. I've asked the people from the investigation unit and no one's claimed it." And Kim was like, got that one eyebrow raised. "Well, doesn't look like it was any one of us either. Maybe it was from last night's shift. What is it anyway?" And March says it's a file on Gregory McTrevor. And do you want to take over from here, Myrna?
Sure. You get, because isn't that the merchant the investigation unit keeps trying to pin down? And March goes, "Yes, exactly. And apparently the file is a missing piece. We need to lock him up for good." I just love like how it just goes like straight to his mouth. It's like, like it's like kind of like that. If this was a show, like, dun, dun,
Yeah.
And then everybody, there's just like a picture of everybody with, like the lines there. They're like, there's just like big like exclamation mark, like, collective gasp. And, Lauren, sitting there, what? "I got no idea what shade it was." I was like, "What?" I just kind of think, like, I wish, like, you just see her eyes, looking serious, but all I can think of is, like that, "What?" I had no idea, So, yeah. March goes, "My guy spent months trying to get dirt on him with no luck. If the evidence here is proven true, then this is one hell of a job." And then, our little Miss Innocent Lauren over here goes, "Aren't there any clues in the file? A signature, a piece of handwriting?" And then, of course, they go, "Nothing. Everything is typed, even the cutesy little cover letter."
I bet she's like, "Cutesy."
So sassy. So like somewhere on the other side of the city, Kieran just like sits bolt upright. It's like, who's talking shit about me?
Yeah, I mean, dramatic would have been apropos. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I can see the eye roll. You guys, "I want this file analyzed by our best specialist. Verify every single claim. It may look convincing, but don't trust this." And then Kim goes, "What does the letter say?" And so they read, gets close up of the letter, and they say, it says, "Good day, officers. In this folder, you will find everything you need to send Gregory McTrevor to his final incarceration." And and then you just see, the paper being held up and read, and in the background, it's kind of dark. You see Lauren say to send Gregory McTrevor to his final incarceration. It's very dramatic. And then they fade to black, and then of course, our stereotypical at the end, the co-creators, fist bumping, saying,
Yeah, and it looks like they're in the cave, and she's wearing gloves, so
yes,
no fingerprints there.
Smart.
I want to talk a little bit about Hermann, because a lot of people don't like Hermann, but I actually, it's very oddly never had a lot of sympathy for Hermann, even though my personality is very different than him. I see Hermann as somebody who just can't handle it when rules aren't followed. I think he's very narrow-minded, and I don't think of him as a bad person. I think he does have like anger issues and like grumpiness issues, and he probably is picking on Lauren more than she deserves to be picked on. But I'm very much the opposite of that kind of person, and I don't actually necessarily get along with these kind of people in real life. But I don't know, maybe I'm just sticking up for the underdog because everyone hates Hermann. But I feel like just Hermann is the kind of person who just can't handle things being different than the way they should be. And it's a personality. It's like some people are very anxious. Some people need time to adjust to circumstances. Some people, I don't know, need their setting to be the same. And like, I just think you have to be a little bit understanding of people who just have a different personality than you, even if it's aggravating. And he's very different than me. I completely the opposite of that. Like I'm not a rules person at all, but I just want to stick up for Hermann over here.
We were talking earlier about Dungeons and Dragons, and his character would definitely be one of the lawfuls, like either lawful good or lawful neutral. I'm leaning towards, because he picks on Lauren so much, but I'm leaning towards lawful neutral, but at the same time it could be lawful good. He thinks that, she's, because they're very strict on rule following, and she is not. And so
yeah, like I definitely agree with him. I don't like him because of course I'm not supposed to, we're seeing this all from Lauren's perspective. We are, conditioned to empathize with her because her point of view is what we're seeing. And, he's a jerk to her, but like, I definitely think that he is committed to doing things by the book and making sure that the way that the whole system that he's in charge of, like, works according to a system as opposed to like the whims of individuals within its ranks, which, when you think about like what you would ideally want a protective service to be, is like one that is really committed to a system of integrity, which,
well, also
it's not, but yeah.
I'm just going to assume that their justice system is similar to ours in that like one misstep and your whole case could be thrown out. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's why they have to do it by the book, or else they could, lose out on being able to actually put away these people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I can tell that it's important to him to do things the right way. And of course, he as like a middle person of authority in the overarching law enforcement structure, he is under an enormous amount of pressure. So I can sympathize with his grumpiness, even if I still think he's a jerk.
Agreed.
Wow, I'm happy that y'all agree. Everyone loves to hate Hermann. Some people have even gone to the extent of saying that Hermann is ugly. I'm like, everyone in this comic is good looking, literally.
Yeah, like they're supposed to be.
Somebody was talking to me about K-pop idols the other day, and I was like saying, like, even like the worst looking K-pop idol is better looking than your average person. Like, they have all these, people, trying to make them look it. And same with this, like, I mean, come on, look at the artwork. The artwork is gorgeous. Nobody's gonna look bad. Even the corpse doesn't look that bad.
Exactly. And like I think the other thing is also that, everybody's wondering like who's secretly working for the fandom scythe, and I just don't think it's gonna be him.
No,
I think he's way too rigid. That, or he is, and he is the best actor known to the history of humanity.
That would be a giant surprise. Yeah.
That would be a plot twist.
Yeah, that would definitely, that would really surprise me given the character we've seen so far.
Yeah, in all of our tinfoils that I've seen, in every single theory, I've never seen Hermann being accused of being the leader or an apostle or a messenger or anything.
Exactly.
People do not think he has a capacity to do that.
I don't think he's too straight-laced, way too straight-laced.
But meanwhile, maybe you're right. Maybe he has the secret history as a drama student, and it's just been his, lifelong play.
All the Oscars.
best supporting role. Anywho, so what other thoughts do you have on this chapter? My first thought is thinking that Lauren is going to have a very hard time hiding her true role in this office, and we'll see it in the future. But even just this little beginning, where she'll have to hide, activities that are really genuine and true to her heart and like close to her, from her closest friends, from her colleagues. It's a very dangerous game to play, and probably a very isolating one, which leads her closer to our buddy Kieran, who also is very isolated.
That's very true. I enjoy how we get this extra glimpse of the awesome like friendship between Kim and Lauren in the really great like humorous way. Kim is 8 times out of 10 coming in, and at least no matter what her role in the scene is, she also brings the comic relief with her, and awesome like female friendship power dynamics, and it's just chef's kiss all around. But I think right away we also are introduced a little bit more to Kim as this incredibly smart and perceptive character, and right away you can tell that more than anybody else, it's going to be Kim who is the greatest threat to Lauren's anonymity.
I agree.
Yep.
Because she's sharp as a nail, like all on her own, but she also has that just gut level understanding of what makes Lauren tick. And when you put that level of perception and that level of intuition together, like it's just going to be a matter of time.
And she's looking.
Yeah.
She's her close friend, so she's paying attention.
I can also tell that Lauren is just not the best liar ever. So
yeah, I know. Like when she can automatically tell when somebody's lying, she doesn't pay attention to how people give themselves away to other people when they lie.
Very true. And she probably is a very honest person. Before this, she probably didn't have to resort to subterfuge. And she probably, Kieran himself says, and kudos to his perceptiveness. He tells her, she asks, why do you trust me? And he says, you're straight-laced enough to, be honest. And that's something he realizes. And I think that I agree with his characterization of Lauren. She probably never lied before.
Yeah.
She's a blunt force kind of person. We can see later on that she just can't hold back her true reactions.
Yeah. Just a little bit of a flashover kind of gal.
I feel like this is just going to be like really hard on her, like the next, however many episodes we get through, and it's gonna weigh on her, especially having to hide it, I think, from Kim, not being able to share it with anybody but Kieran.
Yeah.
I do feel like in many ways she's always been that kind of person to keep things close to her chest. In some ways maybe not, by keeping that murder board just like out in the open in her house at least, which to me is like the most not hidden thing.
Yeah.
But I think in many ways she probably has always been this way, and whatever confidences she's been sharing with Kim probably took a long time to share. I don't think that she's someone who easily opens up to people.
Yeah, definitely not. She's had kind of a traumatic childhood. Well, she has had she has had a traumatic childhood, and I think that would make her less likely to open up to people, with all the losses that she incurred while very young.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that her and Kim's friendship has been a long time in the making.
Mm-hmm. And probably buoyed by Kim's dogged persistence and dogged optimism, like I don't think she just like hangs around and is a supportive friend and eventually Lauren opens up to her. Like Kim rolls up with a sledgehammer. It's like, you are going to tell me why you're sad, and doesn't leave Lauren alone until she just gives in.
It's like the stereotypical introvert extrovert friendship where an extrovert like adopts an introvert, because I am an extrovert, my husband is very introverted, and it just kind of was like, you will be my friend now.
Basically.
I have adopted you, now tell me everything.
It's superb. They're a great fit for one another as
Agreed.
BFFs, and it's going to backfire on Lauren's goals so hard.
Oh, definitely.
But in a good way. It might be something that she
Yeah.
resents at first, and she's like, "Oh no, she's onto me." But then,
I
the
mean,
amount of
having
help
Kim
that
on your side for anything is like having, you know, unstoppable force, immovable object, both working for you.
Yes.
And I'm pretty
agreed.
sure Kim can act. I'm gonna put my bets on that she can act, and she can definitely be the distraction in all situations.
Oh, I completely agree. This is,
Yeah.
I think, I think that it's gonna kind of come back to Lauren to not, trust her to begin with. But I mean, I think that like when/if Kim finds out, let's just say she's gonna find out because like she knows Lauren really well. Lauren's
Yeah,
a terrible actor.
She's gonna figure it out. It's gonna happen at some point.
Yeah, I think that when and if she finds out, she will definitely be Lauren's biggest help.
Oh, I am gonna put my money on that. Lauren's gonna be okay. I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm going to put my money on the fact that Kim is going to be the one to encourage Lauren to open her eyes about Kieran. Lauren will probably be like, "Oh, Kieran, but he's a bad guy, blah, blah, blah." And she'll be like, "Lauren, don't you see he cares for you?" Okay, this is my prediction.
Yes. Kim is going to be the wingman extraordinaire.
I think about those best friends.
Yeah, Lauren has this perception of Kieran, and obviously like we'll see throughout the comic it does change somewhat, but I do think that she's very, very hesitant. She takes a long time before she trusts people, and I think Kim, due to her perception, is going to point out Kieran's trustworthiness in relation to her at least, and the good parts of his character to Lauren. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yep.
All right, so do we have anything else to say on this chapter before we wrap up?
That's it on my part.
That's all for me. All hail Queen Kim.
Yes, fandom, Kim.
Yep.
We're not worthy.
One of the things that like I very quickly learned that every community has its like language and its way of talking, and I learned that fandoms are ridiculously hyperbolic, like over the top, just they're amazing, I will marry them, I would die for you, all hail queen, right? You just said that. So
I think one of the really nice things about especially like these like primarily like women dominated fandoms is that everybody's just allowed to like it however much they like it and express it in those hyperbolic terms, and nobody has to feel terribly self-conscious about just being very enthusiastic about something that brings them however much joy.
I feel like we match the chaoticness of the artists themselves. Like I see this in K-pop and I see this with the webtoon.
Yes.
I feel like their artists themselves are super chaotic. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
$10,000 wig.
Yes. So dramatic and chaotic, and we just match their energy as fans, I think.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I thought about that because I'm now thinking of like writing a webtoon eventually, and I'm not a very funny person, and I think to myself, I'm like, I'm very like angsty and serious and all that, and I just think to myself like, you have to balance your story. It has to be entertaining and funny as well in moments, otherwise it'll be just too heavy.
Yeah.
So luckily I am funnier in writing than I am in person, so it's a help. But yeah, a story has to be more balanced unless you want to attract only a very gloomy crowd.
Right.
But we're all here to be punished anyway, because as much as I'm optimistic, we all know what genre this is, sort of.
Brace yourselves, everyone. The pain is coming.
Get ready to cry.
I'm fully expecting to break my phone at the finale when someone I love dies. It's just gonna fly across the room. I should be in a padded room for my own safety.
If the show or book or comic or movie doesn't leave me pulverized in a corner, I don't want it. Sorry.
I mean, that's just how we roll. Bring the pain.
I do agree, because, you know, we as human beings, we seek meaning in our lives, and the more impactful it is, the more meaningful it is, and the more real it is. So yes, you know, on the one hand, it's emotional, but that's real life. Real life does leave you sometimes gasping in a corner.
Exactly. And I think also during this, like this current socio-political era where we're seeing this angst all around us that's sort of pervasive, low grade all the time, there's something particularly cathartic about having permission to fully like buy into someone else's story and to like express horror and shock and grief in this capacity. Like it lets you get that sort of pent up emotion out in the more hypothetical context. And so I think that's part of why it is resonating with so many people right now, particularly.
It's very insightful. I completely agree that stories play that role in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember reading somewhere in one of my like psychology studies when I was in an undergrad that in Japan there's this, maybe Mem you'll know more about it. There's this word, I don't know what the word is, called like basically like cathartic crying, where you go to a movie just to make you cry because you need to get that out.
Yeah. And it's like the movie gives you permission to open the door, but for these feelings that have been sitting in there for a long time, and they don't care how they get out, they just need to get out.
Oh, well, on that note, that's a good note. I think it's a good note. I think we can end. Thank you so much for coming on. It's a pleasure as always. It really is.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your insights and funniness. Yeah, it's wonderful. Well, I'll catch you all later. Bye.
Bye.